just dropped a brutal reaction to his UFC 313 loss. No more Chama, karma. But is there more to the story than just payback? Pereira's defeat at UFC 313 sent shockwaves through the MMA world. But his ex-girlfriend's words have fans buzzing for a whole different reason. Was this just an emotional reaction, or is there deeper drama behind the scenes? In this video, we'll break down the fight, his ex's explosive comments, and what this could mean for Pereira's career moving forward. From his rise to dominance to this shocking loss, we'll explore whether this is just a setback or the start of a downward spiral. And if you think this is just another fight story, think again, because the fallout could change everything. Stick around as we unpack all the details, the behind-the-scenes drama, and whether Pereira can bounce back from this crushing moment. Pereira lost his light heavyweight title to Magomed Ankalaev in a 5-round fight that many expected him to win. Instead, Ankalaev outpointed him in a dominant performance, leading to Pereira's dethroning as champion. UFC commentator Joe Rogan even called it an uncharacteristic showing from Pereira, who was outstruck and unable to impose his usual aggressive style. Now, enter Pereira's ex-girlfriend. She wasted no time commenting on his loss, emphasizing that it wasn't a robbery. In other words, Pereira lost fair and square. She also highlighted that the fight happened on International Women's Day, suggesting that it was some kind of poetic justice. This is where the karma part comes in. While she didn't explicitly say why she thought karma was at play, the implication was clear. She believed Pereira was getting what he deserved. But what about no more Chama? The word Chama is a signature phrase of Pereira, often used to represent his confidence, fire, and warrior mentality. His ex-girlfriend throwing it back at him after his loss could be seen as a way of saying, your time is up, the fire is gone. It was a direct hit at his identity and persona, essentially stripping him of what made him Poatan. Her reaction didn't go unnoticed. Fans quickly picked up on her comments, debating whether she was just being petty or if there was a deeper meaning behind them. Many speculated that there might be unresolved tension between the two, especially considering how quickly she spoke out after the fight. Pereira, for his part, didn't stay silent. He responded to her viral video with a simple but pointed comment. I think she should stop mentioning my name because her husband might get jealous, Chama. His response suggests that he sees her remarks as unnecessary and possibly attention-seeking. He even throws Chama right back at her, signaling that he's not about to let her words shake him. So, was this just bitterness from an ex, or was there something more? While she didn't give a detailed reason for why she saw his loss as karma, it's clear she felt a sense of satisfaction in seeing him lose. Whether that stems from a personal issue between them or just a general dislike, we can't say for sure. What we do know is that this moment added another layer of drama to Pereira's already tough night. Losing his belt was bad enough, but having his ex publicly celebrate his downfall, that's a different kind of hit, one that won't heal as quickly as a bruised face. Alex Pereira's UFC 313 loss to Magomed Ankalaev wasn't just a setback, it was a moment that completely shifted the trajectory of his career. Heading into the fight, Pereira was riding high as the light heavyweight champion, and there was even speculation that he might move up to heavyweight for a massive showdown with the winner of John Jones versus Tom Aspinall. But after being outpointed over 5 rounds and losing his belt, those plans are now unlikely. One of the biggest changes this loss brings is his immediate future in the division. UFC President Dana White confirmed after the fight that a rematch between Pereira and Ankalaev is likely. giving him a chance to reclaim his title. But with Ankalaev now in control, the light heavyweight division has been thrown into a new era, and Pereira is no longer at the top of it. For many fans, Pereira was the fighter who revived the division. After a string of injuries, belt vacating, and lackluster matchups, Pereira's explosive style and knockout power brought excitement back. Now, with Ankalaev as champion, some fear that the division could become less thrilling, especially since Ankalaev's wrestling-heavy approach isn't as exciting as Pereira's striking battles. Beyond the fight itself, Pereira's performance raised concerns. UFC commentator Joe Rogan called it uncharacteristic, noting that Pereira looked lost at times and struggled to deal with Ankalaev's pressure. For a fighter known for his aggressive and calculated striking, this was a surprising shift. It wasn't just that he lost, it was how he lost. Instead of a back-and-forth war or a sudden knockout, he was controlled for most of the fight, with few moments of real danger for Ankalaev. Another major shift is how the MMA community perceives Pereira. Before UFC 313, many saw him as one of the most dominant fighters in the sport. Now, after this loss, questions have started to arise. Can he adjust his game to handle strong wrestlers like Ankalaev? Does this loss expose a weakness that other fighters will now try to exploit? The aura of invincibility he had built over his rapid rise has been shaken. Now Pereira is at a crossroads. He has vowed to make the right adjustments, but the road ahead isn't easy. He'll have to prove he can evolve as a fighter, handle Ankalaev's style in a rematch, and show that he's still one of the best in the world. This loss changed everything, but how he responds could define his legacy. Alex Pereira's UFC 313 loss to Magomed Ankalaev was a devastating moment for his fans. But does it mean his legendary run is over? Not necessarily. While losing his light heavyweight title was a major setback, it's far from the end of the road for one of the most exciting fighters in modern MMA. Pereira wasn't just defeated, he was controlled. Ankalaev's wrestling-heavy approach neutralized his striking, leaving Poatan looking hesitant and unable to dictate the fight. It was a rare sight for someone known for his brutal knockouts and aggressive style. Joe Rogan even called it an uncharacteristic performance, which only added to the concerns about his ability to handle elite wrestlers. Losing a belt is one thing, but losing in a way that exposes a potential weakness is another. Now, future opponents may look to follow Ankalaev's blueprint, forcing Pereira to make major adjustments if he wants to reclaim his throne. Despite the loss, UFC President Dana White confirmed that a rematch between Pereira and Ankalaev is likely. This is huge because it means Pereira will have the opportunity to win back his belt right away. However, this rematch will be different. Ankalaev now has the mental edge, knowing he can control Pereira for 5 rounds. Pereira, on the other hand, will need to prove that he can adapt. Will he work on his takedown defense? Will he add new weapons to his game? If he does, he has a real shot at revenge. If not, we could see a repeat of UFC 313. If Pereira doesn't get the rematch, or if he loses again, there are still exciting options for him. A move to heavyweight was rumored before UFC 313, and while it seems unlikely now, it's not impossible. If he struggles to reclaim his belt at 205, a fresh start in a new division, especially with his knockout power, could reignite his career. There's also the possibility of big money fights outside of a title shot. A trilogy with Israel Adesanya, a super fight with another big-name striker, or even a crossover fight in boxing could keep Pereira in the spotlight. His star power hasn't faded, and fans would still tune in to watch him fight. So, is this really the end for Alex Pereira? Not even close. Sure, this loss was tough, but champions aren't defined by how they fall. They're defined by how they rise again. With a potential rematch on the horizon and plenty of exciting fights ahead, Pereira's story is far from over. The real question is, can he make the right adjustments and come back stronger? If he does, we might witness one of the greatest comeback stories in UFC history. If not, well, things could get even more complicated for him. Either way, one thing is for sure. This isn't the last we've heard of Poatan. So, stay tuned, because the next chapter of Alex Pereira's career is about to get very interesting. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any updates, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Pereira can bounce back, or is this the beginning of the end? Let's talk about it.